Most bankers aren't ready to help you until after their third cup of coffee. But with Central National Bank's after-hours service, you don't have to wait for the bank lobby to open to get help. You can contact us from 6 to 8:30 in the morning or from 5 to 10 in the evening, and we'll connect you to a real, live, local person who can answer questions and fix problems 7 days a week. Bank different. Bank Central. Central National Bank. Member FDIC.
All right. Now we're good. Shabba-dee-goo. Shibbity-bop-bop-doo-bop-be-dow.
Hey, what's up, Blazer fans? Welcome to the Blazers Edge podcast. I'm Tara Bowen-Biggs, joined as always by my good friend, Blazers outsider Danny Marang. How you doing, Danny?
Good friend and forever optimist.
That's not what I called you.
You got that.
I did not call you forever optimist because the moment something comes up that you're not even the slightest fan of, it'll be like all doom and gloom. I'm going to guess 10 minutes into this podcast when get you till I can get you all riled up about something.
Oh, no. I mean, about the Blazers, I don't think you can right now. Like as crazy as that may be. I said going into Game 4, I had a weird feeling that they were going to come out and just kind of handle things, and they took what I felt was the best punch from the OKC Thunder in Game 3, and they had some things clearly go their way when it came to the officials. You had Jeremy Grant have his game of the series, and it took a lot for OKC to get a game to kind of go their way, right?
I mean, we knew that they weren't going to lay down and go away quietly. You jumped right into talking about Game 3. I was going to make a little small talk first.
Well, no. This is kind of small talk in the sense of the feeling about this team I have right now. Because I've had a lot of people say, "Why can't you be more positive? Why can't you look on the brighter side of things? Why this? Why this?" And then I've always said, and you've heard me say this a million times, Derek, give me good things to talk about, and I will talk about them. And I think right now there's a lot of good things about this team right now. But more than anything is the businessman-like way that they're going about things. They're just ticking boxes like a better team does. They aren't concerning themselves with the Thunder. They aren't concerning themselves with what they do. And I kind of wish they'd get a little chippy with them and get in their head and talk a little noise. Like I wanted Anthony Simons to get on a breakaway dunk at the end of Game 4, just like Paul George did, just to let the lasting memory just kind of sit with OKC, as they wait all summer, because they're not going to have their team back in the building again. That's how I feel.
I like how the Blazers ended that on a high note, took the high road with all that. I agree. I love the attitude that they have going in right now. I love where they said, we're just going to talk to each other. We're not going to talk to anybody else who's not wearing a Blazer jersey. I thought that was a really smart way to focus themselves in these playoffs, which have gotten real chippy, like not just this series, but many series. There's been so much talk about the referees and the officiating, and I thought that, their vow to just address each other, or, to speak directly in, measured tones to the refs. I think I'm with you on, they just, I couldn't have asked for a better team to be rooting for right now. Really.
Yeah. I mean, it's not just like the basketball. Because the basketball stuff's kind of taken care of itself. But we talked about this, I feel like it was like a month ago, maybe a little bit longer than that. The Blazers actually started addressing the whole point of getting their ass kicked by the Pelicans last year candidly. They stopped with the cliches and all the little, it's just another game. It was just this, that, or the other. You got CJ, you got Dame, you got Mo, you got Evan, you got all these guys who were out there talking about it sucked. It sucked to spend all summer hearing how bad we were and how bad we got beaten and, breaking up the team and how, Terry Stotts was close to losing his job because Paul Allen was not thrilled with how things went. And it was comforting in a weird way to hear that, they weren't just dismissing these things, that it did rattle them, that it did cause them to take a look at and adjust like what their level of focus needs to be and how they need to conduct themselves and what they need to do to get ready and how they need to carry out a game plan, because that stuff has showed up every single game. In these 4 games, Tara, have you seen this team not show up and be at the bare minimum mentally prepared?
No, I've seen a team dialed in and taking everything very seriously all season, actually. And attack the playoffs just like they've been aiming for this entire season. It just makes me sad that Nurkic isn't there. That really bums me out.
Yeah. I thought I was going to be the one that brought everything down. Here comes Tara. I wish Nurkic was there.
Well,
screeching Hulk.
I mean,
come on now.
You're very up and very down, Dan. Let's face it. You're either everything is on fire or it's the most incredible thing that's ever happened to anybody in the entire world.
I have no idea.
I try to take a balanced approach. I try to look at both sides of issues. That's why I don't get riled up about the refs. And I know that you do, because I know it's a very complicated thing.
Don't know what you're talking about.
I just try to be a little more even keeled about it. And sometimes I wonder if that makes me a bad fan, because I don't get super, riled up about stuff. But to me, all that stuff is all that stuff is just extra when I just want to, focus on the guys and how they're playing and what they're doing.
I mean, that's fine.
Good. Thank you. Thank you for giving me permission to feel my feelings, Dan.
Well, you don't really feel anything. You just said you don't. No,
I like to. I like to keep an even keel. I like to try not to overreact to things, which is why I'm trying not to overreact to their 3-1 lead.
Terabot 2.0.
Because we have seen what happens even to very good teams who get a 3-1 lead if they have an opponent who suddenly lights a fire and decide that they want to put them away.
That's the thing, is that this team, both teams, I think are in 2 totally different places right now. At the end of Game 4, I saw a Thunder team that didn't want to be out there.
I see a Thunder team that looks a lot like the Blazers did last year.
Yes,
only
very much so.
They managed to squeak out a win, and the Blazers, there was either Game 2 or Game 3 last year where they almost got a win, and then after that there was just
slaughtered.
Nope, it wasn't going to happen. That's what it looks like, but that's what it looks like today, and it's there's a reason it's a 7-game series, and anything can happen, and that's why we like it.
The cliches.
You just act like everything is given. like you were sure that the Blazers were going to be playing the Jazz in the first round. That was 2 weeks ago. You were completely wrong. So it's okay for me to call out and say, hey, maybe we should pump the brakes on this.
Yeah, the 97% probability. It's not about being right or wrong. It's playing the long game in that the likelihood of the Blazers securing this series is much higher than them dropping it. Do you see the Thunder winning 3 out of 4 games?
Do I what?
Do you see the Thunder winning 3 out of 4 games?
No, I don't. I think that the Blazers are going to win, but I don't want to say that it's a given. I don't want to ever act like I know what's going to happen. That's all I'm saying.
I'm not even acting like I know what's going to happen. It's just what I believe is going to happen. It's operating on
it's a very fine line for you. I think figuring out the difference between what you believe and
it's a strongly held belief, and it's just based on numbers. And then you throw in the fact of how the Blazers are playing and how the Thunder are playing, how Westbrook is walking off the bench with 15 seconds to go after being a guy who had an awful lot to say about busting that ass for years in the regular season. Paul George, from everything that I've heard, is playing with a shoulder he shouldn't be playing with. You got guys like Schroder out there tapping his wrist when he's, kind of writing checks that, he's not going to be cashing. And he's getting a guy like Damian Lillard fired up.
Do you think, is Schroder trying to be like Patrick Beverly Jr.?
Yeah.
He's the only one that I've seen guard somebody baseline to baseline.
Yeah, he's trying to be a little bit of that. He's kind of their energy guy. I think Roberson, obviously not being out there, is something that is problematic for them on the defensive end. Not that they're short in the defensive players, but he's a guy. He's their defensive backbone with Paul George. So him not being there for a large portion of the year has probably hurt them in that respect.
But Schroeder's trying to do all that extra annoying Beverly stuff.
And he's almost doing it like little brother, big brother. Like he sees how Russ conducts himself and he's like, I want to be just like him. And then he goes out there and acts a fool. But he doesn't have the cachet, the minutes, or the talent to back that up. I mean, and Dame hit it right in the press conference. The whole idea of Schroder tapping the wrist in his face. He's like, yeah, that was kind of funny. He waited until the very end of the game to do that. Like if you watch Dame and Russ, they're talking to each other all game. Mm-hmm. It's they start the game yapping at each other, and it goes all night long. And I love it.
There's been so many classic moments from Damian in this series already. I really want it to continue into a second series just because I can't wait to see what he's got in store with us. Starting with, like we talked about last week, going out there and sinking that 30-foot shot in the very first shot of the series. And then there was his reaction and scoring 23 points after the rock the baby thing all happened. Yeah,
he's got signature moments everywhere.
He really does.
The defensive stand on Westbrook, where Westbrook clanks a three, and then Dame comes down and hits the 35-footer in his face and just starts, clapping. And he claps in Russ's face after he misses the shot, and then he starts thumping his chest after he bangs a three. We talk about this all the time, right, Sarah? The whole idea of can Damian Lillard find another gear? Can he rewrite the one negative he has in his career, which is kind of his playoff resume? And right now,
his playoff resume looks great right now. Or this year's playoff resume looks great.
Yeah, he looks like the best player in the playoffs right now. Not just this series, in the playoffs. He's
really better than Giannis.
I'm grading that one on a sliding scale just because the Pistons are.
I think you got a little ahead of yourself on that one. I mean, don't get me wrong. I would rather have Damian Lillard than any other person in the league as the leader of the team that I cheer for. But before we got on, you were just talking about how Giannis is destroying basketball.
He is, but I'm also, again, sliding scale because he's playing a team in the Pistons, I think, that really have no business being there. And his matchup has been Blake Griffin, who's playing on basically the same leg I have right now. So it's a bit of a – and listen, I've taken my shots at Blake Griffin in the past. Props to him for going out there. I think it's dumb, but for going out there and playing for what he's
I don't understand why he's playing, but –
It's been insane. But Dame, I mean, he has been absolutely phenomenal, especially considering the pressure that he's had. For Giannis, the pressure is different. This is a team that had not won a playoff series since 2001. And they just swept tonight. The expectations are there, but they aren't burdensome. I think with Damian Lillard, I think they were burdensome because let's say this is a different way, and this is 3-1 for the Thunder. Even with Nurkic's injury, you're probably going into this offseason with Neil O'Shea and the basketball side of things strongly evaluating what's going to be the makeup of this team going forward. That's still going to happen, but I think it's going to be in a different manner.
When are we going to decide that Dame and CJ can play together? Dame and CJ have been saying that they can play together for years. And
I think this is the first time they've proved it.
Pardon me?
I think this is the first time they've ever actually proved it, where it's actually been enough to win when it matters.
So are you going to punish them for taking a long time and go ahead and reevaluate them again? Or this summer, are you okay saying this team should move forward with those two players as the leaders?
I think you need to constantly evaluate those things. And I still don't think that when it comes down to it, they're enough to get it done on the highest end. Granted, with that, because, again, when things are going well, I want to point out things that are going well. This is the highest level of performance I think I've seen from CJ.
CJ is incredible.
His performance in the first half last night in Game 4 was masterclass. I don't know if there's something wrong with Dame, if he took a little shot to the ribs from Nerlens Noel and it kind of had him nicked up and run a little slow, but he was deferring a ton. Or maybe it was part of the game plan.
No, I think he's okay. So here's something that I discovered about CJ over the weekend. I wrote mom's favorite, and I put Damian as number one mom's favorite, but I gave CJ the gold star because I was digging into his matchups. And during the regular season, CJ was guarded just about 8 possessions a game by Paul George. And for this playoffs, he's being guarded by him about 24 possessions, a little more than 24 possessions. So not only is he being guarded by one of the best defenders in the league, 3 times as much as he was being guarded in the regular season, he's increased his points, his rebounds, and his assists at the same time. And to me, that was so impressive. And I took a look, and at least through 3 games, CJ had assisted every player who had scored on an assist. So like Evan Turner had gotten, a tip in. And I think one of Anthony Simons had scored by creating his own shot. But otherwise, every player who had gotten a basket and had it been assisted had everybody had gotten something from CJ. Even Damian hadn't assisted every player at that point. So CJ is doing so much, and it's a beautiful thing to watch. And he's being called upon to do more. Well, and some of his dribbling, some of the way his handle has developed. He created 10 feet of space for himself the other day in what is that, a jab step or whatever?
He put Raymond Felton into another dimension off that right to left that got everybody going nuts. I mean, he's had some moves so far in this series where he has just crushed people, and he's not dancing. He's not right, left, in, out, it's just 1-2. He's which is crazy because a month ago he's sitting there, unable to really walk. Right.
Yeah. No, I thought there was going to be more time required for him getting up to speed, but
and everyone else
that rest, he must have done more than just rehab his leg, but get everything all in order, because
he was cleared to work out.
He was back.
Well, he was cleared to work out. He was going 3 and 4 times a day, so he wanted to get back. And I mean, CJ's actually been the one consistent thing, I think, for the Blazers in the playoffs in the CJ Dame era. He's consistently performed in a box score level, but I think he's had more momentum plays in this series alone than he has had in impact-wise in any of his other playoff games.
I would say Chief has also been very consistent in the playoffs.
I hadn't gotten to I hadn't got to him yet. This was just CJ. Remember, Tara, you can say nice things about CJ.
You can actually the only, and I just wanted to clarify, because you get a little carried away sometimes with your modifiers.
No, Chief had very, very bad games against the Pelicans. Atrocious games. His shooting was so subpar that they actually cost him games 1 and 2. That was the problem in that series.
Oh.
Outside of Dame being bad, too.
We're blaming the series on Chief.
I'm not blaming it on Chief, but he was subpar offensively. And
he averaged 17.5 points a game.
Take a look at games 1 and 2.
So how much was he scoring in 3 and 4? He must have really gone to town.
Him and I believe it was Zach were brutal on wide open threes. But neither here nor there. Chief has been good defensively, no matter what, certainly. But on the offensive side, he's been great this series when he's shown up to deliver shots. He's been fantastic. And Maurice Harkless. I mean, I've beat up Maurice Harkless.
You have, not me.
Plenty over the last 3 years. And to see him play at this level, I don't think anybody's happier about it than me. No, genuinely. You can ask Joe and Shane how much I've complimented the guy throughout each game.
You know who's probably really happy with how Maurice Harkless is playing? Maurice Harkless and his teammates. So they're probably way up there, and then Danny Marang is probably somewhere.
I don't know. I'm pretty high on
down there. Okay,
it's pretty high.
I want to talk about one thing that I'm a little concerned about, and I want to know if you think it is of a concern. The Blazers have really been struggling anywhere near the rim in the playoffs.
That's a real thing, and I'm actually writing about it. That's a problem.
Okay. So yeah, they're shooting 48% in the restricted area compared with 60% during the regular season.
Yeah. And Steven Adams has not been out there the entire time. And Nerlens Noel is nice, but yeah, that's not enough of a factor.
Right. So what is going on? And is I haven't seen as many of those Damian drives. And is that because I mean, because like you said, Steven Adams hasn't really been a big factor in this. So what's causing the downstream effects so that Damian isn't getting those drives and completing those drives if it's not Steven Adams?
A lot of the missed shots, and I hate to do this, have actually come from guys like Harkless and Aminu, at the rim in particular. Are they
layups that are getting blocked?
No, they're just missing them. Harkless, as good as he was in Game 4, and this is not to take away from him. This is like the one, like, if everything else is in the plus column, this is the one minus column he had last night in the game. He missed a ton of bunnies. He got a lot of rebounds, and eventually, more often than not, I think he cleaned up his miss, or somebody else got the offensive putback. But he missed a lot of bunnies, and it was really surprising because throughout the regular season, he's been very good in that respect.
Well, are the Thunder doing something to make that harder? Because it seems super crowded in the paint. That's what I'm thinking. I think they're crowding it. They
are kind of. They are when it's Dame. Because they want to not only limit his effectiveness at the rim, because Dame's smaller and not quite the explosive athlete that Russ is, who can get through these crevices and explode up above everybody. They want to take away passing lanes and shooting angles. What Dame has done, and the Blazers counter to this, is they run their pick and roll 40 feet from the rim right now, so somebody has to recover from 20 feet, and it's just not possible. That third quarter takeover where Dame went for 25, I mean, I think he had eight drives or 9 drives where he converted on 7 of them. And every single one of them, I think the one that he missed was a ridiculous circus shot that was a kind of a heat check drive. Mm-hmm. But other than that, he's been pretty good around the rim.
Yeah, he has circus shot is a good description. He has had a lot of those where it's just like, there's no way it went in.
Yeah, I mean, he's shooting a little subpar right now. Games 1 and 2, he struggled around the paint. But yeah, it's weird because like right now, Chiefs shooting 25% in the rim in the restricted area, mm-hmm. And that's weird.
Yeah, I think the Thunder are doing something, and what I want to know is if their next opponent is going to be doing something. So just to recap, Game 3, obviously the Blazers lost. That was 120-108 in OKC. Game 4, the Blazers defeat the Thunder 111-98. Game 3 was the only game that the Blazers let OKC score more than 100
Get over
points.
100. Yeah, which is insane when you think about it. Like 100 is not a benchmark that we like. You know, the old Lawler's law, first to 100 wins. Well, every team scores 100 with relative ease.
Right.
Some teams do it by the third
Sometimes
quarter.
in the third quarter.
Yeah, so it's not the same bar it used to be. So for the Blazers to hold them down, that's probably if I had to rank storylines for this playoffs, how good Dame has been, Stotts' adjustments, and having these guys already, and number 3 is defensive effort and intensity. Mm-hmm. There is not a guy that has gotten on this floor that has not gotten into OKC's jerseys. Every single one of them has been physical. Even Seth, who you think when you watch him play, like he hates the idea of it. He just wants to get out there and play the beautiful brand of basketball where nobody touches anybody and everybody shoots, equitable jumpers. But even he has gotten into it. I mean,
took a charge.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like everybody is getting. Dame has taken more charges in this series than he took all season, Tara.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
that's insane.
Well, and he's also getting steals like crazy too.
Like wild. And they're all the same way. It's all left-handed pokes. It's something they've clearly game planned for. Mm-hmm. And that's why I said the second storyline is Stotts and the game planning and the adjustments. They have moves, counter moves, and because Dame's not a guy that gambles at all, right? In the regular season, that's not something we've ever seen him do.
What do you mean he doesn't gamble?
Gamble for steals. He's not a guy we see in passing lanes all the time or going to poke the ball away. A timely steal here or there, but he's not Chris Paul. Mm-hmm. He's not trying to actively take the ball away on what feels like every possession. If a guy posts him up right now, he's looking to strip him every time. Mm-hmm. And that's a hell of a change for a guy who 7 years of evidence says otherwise. To all of a sudden be this aggressive, that's a wild switch.
Well, he has averaged through the season, just slightly over 1 steal. per game.
Which really isn't that much. That's pretty low for a point guard.
Is it pretty low for a point guard? Because they're usually harassing each other directly a lot. Okay.
I mean, Chris Paul usually is like a league leader at 3.
Well, yeah. I mean, he's way up there.
But I mean, when you think about the difference there, I mean, Dame through the series right now is at 2.3. So clearly he's much, much, much more active. CJ is actually the guy who's led them in steals over the last couple of years.
And over the regular season? Okay.
Yeah. CJ's usually the guy. He's hovered, I think, like around like 1.2, which when you think about it, kind of puts into perspective how conservative the defensive scheme has always been. Because you would think with guys like Al-Farouq Aminu and Maurice Harkless, or heck, even Nurkic. Nurkic actually before he went down was getting a fair amount of steals. Clogging up passing lanes and having those guys. But Harkless has been phenomenal when he has doubled down, when he is trapped, when he's come over. There was a play where Adams had the size mismatch on Collins in Game 4, and he took him down once and immediately drew the foul on him, went to the free throw line, come down next possession. They go to it again. And Zach did a really good job of not letting Adams go to his first move. He let him get to the middle, but he recovered, and he went chest to chest with Adams. And before Adams could really elevate, here comes Harkless from the three-point line to absolutely send Adams' stuff out of there. And that kind of stuff Harkless has done through 4 games at a level that I have never seen him perform. He has done that time after time after time, and it's scouting, knowing time, situation, foul, need, and kind of doing like a risk assessment on the fly. Like, does this play necessitate me making this play? Is it worth me possibly getting a foul or digging down here at this right time? And he has come up on the right side of that equation more often than not. I will say the only time that in this series that I've seen it where it's like, Mo, what the hell are you doing? Was on that long offensive rebound where it ended up going back to Schroder, and Mo had already taken up up court. I think it was in the second quarter of Game 4, and Schroder canned the 3 in the corner. And Dame looked at Mo like, come on, man. But that is literally the only time I've seen Mo be on the wrong side of that equation.
I think Mo looks like he's playing like he's having fun, and he's kind of playing with some abandon. Like he's fouling, and he's fouling. He is fouling, and he's fouling hard, and he's making them feel it, but he's not squandering his fouls. I feel like the team is fairly in control as much as they can be of the foul situation. It's not like a couple of years ago where they were just like, oh God, like it was them, making
Mo's averaging
bad
5 fouls a game right now, so he's getting his money's worth.
But you have fouls.
He's got to guard Paul George. He's got to help off the Russell Westbrook. He's got to help down on Steven Adams. No.
I'm disappointed when Myers comes in and he doesn't have at least 5 fouls, like on purpose.
Hey, you know what? Quick shout out to Myers for even being able to go in the first half yesterday.
Because he was ill, I heard.
He had his head in a trash can.
Poor guy.
Yeah, so don't eat the sushi in Oklahoma, folks. It's landlocked.
Poor guy. Well, I want to talk a little bit about the other playoff series that is going on right now that is of interest to Blazer fans, and that is the Denver-San Antonio series. I don't want to get too far ahead of ourselves, but things are certainly looking good for the Blazers to get out of the first round. But right now, Denver, San Antonio are tied 2-2. What have you seen in this game that you think would be either a good thing for the Blazers or a big, like, ooh, that's going to be a problem?
I haven't seen anything in this series that's going to be problematic for Portland that they couldn't solve.
Wow.
I don't. Well, here's the thing.
You don't think Jokic is going to be a problem for
I think he's a problem,
Cantor?
But I also think that this is a Denver team lacking a ton of experience, and it's showing against, being able to really handle things against San Antonio. So I think that's a big problem for them. And like every playoff team, you have to earn your stripes. It's a real thing. It was like, oh, what does playoff experience really mean? This is what it means. Not getting beat when you're losing games to a 7 seed. Like this.
Well, it is San Antonio.
Still, and
San Antonio is always at least 2 better than their seed.
That's probably a rule that should be written. And they always have a player that's going to have a breakout performance. Mm-hmm. So Derek White clearly is that guy for them this year. But yeah, the problem I think you face with Denver is, yes, they have depth and talent, but I think that they're still very, very gun shy. I think it's the opposite side where San Antonio doesn't necessarily have the depth and talent, but they have the game planning and the resume, right?
That's why I think this is such a great series. It's so interesting.
It's a strong contrast. I had a ton of people say that Denver would handle this and it would be a gentleman's sweep. And then I don't know how you could say that.
I don't know
about
who you're listening to, Dan. If you had listened to me at all for the whole year, I've been wondering how their youth is going to translate in the playoffs. It's actually translating better than I thought it would. I thought that they would struggle more.
We had Adam Mares on it for Denver, and we brought that up, and he said, I don't know if it's going to be enough. I think that they've got enough, within them to figure it out. I don't know right now.
Yeah.
So,
but I was so interested in what he was saying about the leadership or the leader, Paul Millsap's leadership, because nobody else was doing it. And by the way, it was by silence. I was like, that is so sad.
When he says something, it's the whole room perks up like, huh?
Right. Because
Paul's saying something.
I was just really struck in that conversation with him about their,
Horford's the same way with the Celtics too.
Yeah.
It kind of makes you wonder if maybe that was the problem in Atlanta with Millsap, Horford, Joe Johnson.
Right, is that they were just all...
all of them good guys, great locker room guys. And they're all probably but they're all silent leaders. I mean, Joe Johnson's nickname is the Silent Assassin. None of these dudes talk. And it's kind of a strange situation that you kind of see playing out. But, I mean, look at San Antonio. They're two guys, DeMar and LaMarcus, not big talkers. So, like I said, it'll be interesting to see how this series plays out. And for all Blazers fans, you know what? Sit back and enjoy and watch and hope for Denver and San Antonio to go 7 games. You want
Get the Blazers as much rest as possible.
Wrap up Game 5 and have 3-4 days to kind of hang out.
Have some practices.
And if San Antonio does pull this out, Portland gets home court.
Right. Yeah, that would be really nice.
That would be a heck of a path to the Western Conference Finals. Like, you want to talk about when you're saying how the likelihood of the Blazers playing the Utah Jazz was 97% by all.
It was 90 20 minutes ago. Now it's 97?
No, I said 97.
Oh,
I know the number. No, I know the number. I got it. Don't worry. But, I mean, the likelihood of the Blazers getting this matchup and then getting a Spurs to win and having the opportunity. I mean, you want to talk about all the stars aligning. We've said this in the past about the Blazers before, and they haven't taken advantage of it. And now that it's coming together and they're playing this brand of basketball, I think that's where a lot of my optimism comes from, is that things, even though they're not going their way with the sense of Nurkic being out, they are going their way in other circumstances where I think that the Blazers might, in the past, not have taken advantage of that.
Mm-hmm. Right. I think they are mentally, emotionally, business, like you were saying at the beginning, ready to do all this. What I worry about is that without Nurkic, at some point, it's going to catch their lack of, not lack of creativity, but their lack of options is going to catch up with them.
Mm-hmm. Because, and that's a fair point to bring up too, because let's say the Blazers had lost one more of these games if the series was even, or if they were down 3-1. If you looked at how the Blazers have played, who are getting the shots? You're getting 40+ shots a night from Dame and CJ, and then you're hoping that Aminu or Harkless deliver. Because you had Cantor in Game 1, and then outside of that, Cantor has been good. I think he's not getting enough credit for what he did to close out in Game 4 that allowed them to kind of put that one away on the post up after post up after post up on the switches, and he kicked it out.
Block that game too, didn't he? In that Game 4.
Yep. But again, he outside of Game 1's monster performance, he has not been called upon. It has been Dame, CJ, and guys who in Harkless and Aminu haven't always delivered in the past offensively. And if the Blazers were playing another opponent, or if they did drop one of these games, I think the narrative locally and nationally would change back to what it has been in the past with Dame and CJ don't have enough around them, yada, yada, yada. And I think that'd be amplified by Nurkic's absence. I mean, that would seem fair, right?
Right.
But to Moe and Aminu's credit, they've gotten it done. Right.
They really have. Like, what do you think it is about those two? Well, I think part of it is, again, Moe playing with a whole nother, I don't want to say
his
purpose.
Confidence and attitude are
confidence,
worlds above what it has been. And you point this out a lot as far as like the little things. I have not seen Moe smile, smirk, talk a little sideways, a little trash, more in his career in Portland than I have in the past week.
It's like he's woke up.
Yes.
Like, I mean, it's just like he's ready to go. You know, it's like, you know, when we were talking to Stephanie Reddy this weekend for the What podcast, and she was talking about how when she went to college, she was so excited to play on her college team that she would go to sleep the night before in her uniform so that she could wake up in the morning and go play basketball. Mm-hmm. And that's the attitude that I just feel from Moe right now. Which is like contagious. Why when he got so mad and he, you know, threw his headband off, I was like, yes.
Nobody in Portland is mad at Moe Harkless for throwing his Hashimaki.
Right. Like that, especially a Jim Taylor, or is that who it was? Yeah.
Yeah, it hit JT. That's the best part of that.
The Blazers PR guy is like, what?
Speaking of which, so I was trying to track those headbands down. I cannot find them anywhere.
Oh, no.
I want to buy one to channel the Moe headband energy.
Mm-hmm. Well, maybe we just need to focus it on Moe, and maybe you can just wait your turn till the season's over. Maybe we just need to focus all of that.
Does Moe get all of the headband energy?
Mm-hmm. Okay. Moe needs all the headband energy. You saw what happened when he took it off in Game 3.
Yeah, it's true. Things went sideways.
Yeah, so he just needs to put it on there, hold it all together. It'll be great.
I will channel the powers of a horrible mustache until then.
I want to give a shout out to a listener of ours named Brian, who came to the Women's Hoops and Talks meetup that we had yesterday. God, it seems like a long time ago. He's been a long-time listener from back in the day, and he heard us talk about, heard me talk about the Women's Hoops and Talks meetup, and he wanted to check it out, and he came. Brought his wife, and we had so much good energy in the room for that. And I may have jumped up and run around in circles every time Chief hit a three. And
doing some running then.
Yes.
Because he was hitting threes. Get it? It's a joke, Tara.
So it was a great game, but it was fun. We had a really good turnout. If we go into the second round, we might have another one. I don't know. It was really fun though to get together, and like the last time we watched the Oklahoma City Thunder as a group last time and they lost, so it was really great to exercise that demon.
Yes.
Get the win out of there. Yeah. Anyway, that was really fun, and it was a treat to meet one of our listeners. So yeah, if anybody's out there and they see us, they should come up and say hi, because it's really fun to talk to people who've been listening and to put a face to whoever's out there anymore.
It is so much fun. I love being out somewhere and just having somebody come up to me. Hey man, how about the Blazers? How about this, that, and the other? It's like, yes, cool, awesome. Let's talk hope. Do my favorite thing. So it's awesome to hear that people are coming out there and supporting you guys in that manner. I'm still looking at the stats because I've got like 47 tabs open for kind of a shooting deep dive that I'm putting together. And the thing that pops out to me so far in this series, Tara, it's been a little bit weird, is we're talking about how good CJ has been. He's 5 of 17 from mid range.
Wow, that's usually where his money is.
Yes, but in the paint in the non-restricted area, he's 10 of 19. Like basically the floater range. Mm-hmm. And it's strange to see him struggle like that, especially when you contrast his above the break 3-point shooting. He's 15 of 29. I mean, between Dame and CJ, they're 30 of 63 on above the break threes.
I will take it.
That is an obscenely dumb number.
But have you noticed, I was looking at the shooting chart from the last game, and nobody can hit anything from the right side. Is it the right side? You look at the shooting chart from three. from the last game. It's a sea of red X's.
Oh, okay. So on above the break. Now, when you said right side, I was thinking right corner. I'm like they've been okay from the right corner. It's not bad. It's not
no
great.
From above the break. See, it's just like a sea of red X's.
Yeah, no, they did have a period where they just couldn't hit the broadside of a barn.
I don't understand why teams let them get to that. I don't let get to that left side. I don't know why people let Damian get to that side.
Yeah, I mean, you just think about the
always makes that shot. Shot. Like, don't they all know that shot? Like,
yes,
don't let
Damian
get there.
They do know it. That's what makes those guys so special, is that these teams know it. It's on the scouting report that Dame's tendency and CJ's tendencies are to end up there. And these guys can still get there. And that's a testament how good they really are at creating their own shots. I mean, you think about the big shots that they've hit in this series, with the exception of Dame's logo threes, where have they come from? That left wing. I mean, they are just absolutely when Dame started off 0 for 6 and he hits that shot going into the second quarter, and then they make that big run, and Dame comes out in the third quarter and goes nuts again, hits those back-to-back threes when the Thunder started kind of creeping up, and then the Blazers blow that game open. Those were both back-to-back corner threes or left wing threes from Damian Lillard, and also in between there's a three from CJ McCollum on the left wing. So, I mean, clearly that's their spot, and they get to it, and they're figuring it out, and it's just cool to watch.
Yeah, it really is. That's pretty much the sum of it is, and it feels a little bit like extra basketball, because after Nurkic was down, like you referred to earlier, after Nurkic went down, it just felt like, well, they did a great job this season, and I really thought, like, well, that's it. But credit to them for pulling it together. I still miss him desperately, because I just think the basketball was even more fun.
Yes.
It was more creative. And one of the things is, how I was always talking about, like, how Blazers, no matter how much it feels like they're moving the ball around, are always 24th or 25th in assists. Like, the game that they got the most assists was the game that they lost. But I don't even care anymore. Like,
yeah, again, I think that's a testament to how good Dame and CJ have been, in that the offense is running through them and they are killing it right now. But the next round, I think the matchup is going to be that is going to be tested, and I think your theory on assists and where they fall as a percentage is going to be put to the test big time.
Yeah, they're at the playoff equivalent of 24th now. So, like, or I guess they're the playoff. They're 30th, basically the playoff equivalent of 30th, in that they're dead last, I believe. Oh no, they're second to last, I think. I can't remember in assists. But the other thing is they're. It's so I've gotten used to watching that style of play, so that now when I turn around and I watch a game like Denver or Golden State and they're just like passing it all over the place, I'm like, God, what a waste of time. Like, they're just, and like all those times that they're doing that, somebody could have just grabbed that. So I've got, my brain has started to like the pattern of isolation, and
where the ball doesn't go to one side, it stays on one side of the floor and doesn't get the defense to shift.
Yeah. I mean, like, every time someone like throws across a ball like across the court, I just have like flashbacks to soccer when somebody would like cross the ball in front of the goal, and you're just like, "What are you doing?" And that's what I always feel like when I see people like lobbing the ball across court. Like, what are you doing? Somebody could have just grabbed that. I know it's not the same, but that's what it feels like.
No, I understand that, and it was actually nice to see. I can't remember if it was Dame or CJ now. I think it was CJ no, it was Dame. It was Dame. Yeah, off the trap, he had Moe who cut to the rim for the dunk, where they literally just left him. He threw a really risky pass over a very long and active Thunder defense, exactly where it needed to go. And Hark was able to secure it, throw it down for the dunk, and basically ice the game.
CJ had a nice over-the-top pass to Zach Collins, which I thought you probably liked, because it was a tall pass to a tall man. Although I so miss those bounce passes. I guess you're happy, but I miss them.
I don't know if you noticed the turnovers that Dame had in the first half of that game, what they came on.
Were they bounce passes?
Yes, and it's like, stop doing that in traffic against a team like this. Like the Thunder, they prey on bounce passes or slow passes or floated lob passes. Like, if you throw any of that kind of stuff around this team that has, 13 dudes that apparently are 6'8", and just with bunnies for days, That's when the Thunder have looked their best or their worst, however you want to describe them, for the Blazers.
I was thinking about the Blazers pick and roll with Cantor in there instead of Nurkic, and I call it, and I don't mean this to sound mean, but I call it like pick and wander around, just because like for some reason Cantor doesn't go straight. You know what I mean? Like when Dame and Nurkic have the pick and roll going, they're going so hard straight to the basket. And when Cantor gets it in the pick and roll, it's like he always has a bunch more space on one side, and he always kind of like wanders into that space before then heading to the basket.
A big part of that is that the adjustments the Blazers made to keep the traps away is that they're pulling pick and rolls out to 30 plus feet. Mm-hmm. And that makes the
that
Thunder
much more space.
Yes, and it creates more space, and it makes the Thunder much, much more hesitant to double, because if Dame breaks the double that far away from the rim, there's literally nothing you can do but foul him. That is literally the only thing you can do from a scheme standpoint at that point in time, because you've committed two guys who are now out of position and they're on the trail 30 feet away from the rim. And
so it is different than what they were doing before with Nurkic.
Yes, and I think they would have done this with Nurkic too, because this is one way to counter the trap and the pressure, and the counter to this counter is that if they start sagging back in, guess what Dame set the precedent of to start the series. Hey, just so you know, I'm more than willing and capable of canning 35 footers if you let me walk into this shot. So that's why I think that shot meant so much to start this series.
Oh yeah,
it set the precedent not only energy wise but scheme wise of what they were going to do.
Mm-hmm. Right. Just let us remind you. Don't forget what that first shot felt like. Yeah. No, I think it was brilliant strategy. Can't wait to see where they go from here. But we should go ahead and wrap it up here. You got anything else that you want to talk about?
No, it's just that I'm
we'll just wait it out.
Strangely weirdly, I don't know. I'm trying to find the right word for this. Is it joy? Joyful? Happy? Content? No,
I would say content. You're just feeling super confident, and that makes you feel really good because you like to feel confident.
I do like feeling confident, and James Harden just took a charge, which just irritated the hell out of me because it wasn't a charge.
Focus on the Blazers.
Sorry.
So I think what you're feeling is confidence. What Optimism. I feel is, and it has, I hate to say pride because I did absolutely nothing, right, to get them to this point, but pride in them as a team that I root for, in just how much they have put it together and shown everybody who ever said anything about them not believing in them. They just were like, no, we did this, and I just love it. Anyway, we should cut it off right there. You can find me at TCB Biggs on Twitter. You can also follow the Hoops and Talks podcast. We have had such fun guests lately. I don't know if you had a chance to listen to any of them, but we talked to Stephanie Reddy of TNT.
I did. And I saw her at the game in Game 4. I saw the camera picking up. She was right behind the Kevin and Lamar.
Yeah. She was just absolutely delightful to talk to. And then we got to talk to Jennifer, which was amazing. She's this a cool lady who loves basketball and one day had an opinion about something CJ had said. And it just all spiraled on from there. And so it was absolutely wonderful to get to talk to Jennifer.
Game of Zones captured that brilliantly. And not to pub somebody else's work, but that skit with the Blazers was fantastic.
Yes, it was. So anyway, go ahead. Take us out of here, Dan.
All right, folks, you can catch me on Blazers Outsiders before and after every game. And hopefully there's at least 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, a lot more to close out the season here. On social media, at DMarang, at DMARANG. As always, my DMs are open. And as the playoffs have come, I'm getting a lot more of you asking questions and popping in. Like, please continue to do so. They're open for a reason, so we can talk hoop. My girlfriend doesn't always kill me for opening up my cell phone and checking the DMs, but thank you to everybody who does that, because it's an honor and a privilege, and it's fun as hell to be able to talk hoops for a living. So thank you. But other than that, I think we've got some things planning on the loose ends right now for the second round that I'm hoping they'll be able to talk about once the Blazers win Game 5 and secure the series and have a couple days off. But other than that, I think we're good to go. So Tara, go ahead and take us out.
All right. Well, thanks everyone for listening. Make sure that you subscribe to the Blazers Edge podcast on whatever app you use to listen to your podcast. Follow them at Blazers Edge. Tweet at us. Let us know what's going on, and we will talk to you soon.